On this episode of the podcast, we have a returning guest, a good friend of ours, Captain John Galvin. It's been a couple years since our first podcast with John. He's currently running the El Diablo program, spending a lot of time in Nantucket, Cape Cod, all the way down the Bahamas, Florida. Their program's come a long way in 2 years. New big boat, new center console, a couple other vessels in their fleet. John discusses all those updates and what they've been up to the last couple of seasons. He discusses recent adventures that he and his crew had in Costa Rica, the Dominican, and then the past 2 seasons, canyon fishing and tournament fishing in the Northeast. We nerd out about our dream fishing cruise, canyon fishing tactics, dredges, beards, giant tunas. We cover it all. It was a ton of fun, very informative as always. So without further ado, please welcome back Captain John Galvin. Welcome to the SeaBros Fishing Podcast, where we follow 3 words of wisdom. You can't catch them if you don't have a hook in the water. Always trust your instincts. And the last, you'll just have to keep listening. Stay tight.
Hook around. Yep, that's the one. That's the real one. Get up there, man. All right, back down low. All right, that real good. Double up. We doubled up. Alright. Am I coming off or what? Get that down. Don't get on that rock.
Ask John a question, Taylor, so I can hear it.
John, what's the difference between Neil Armstrong and Michael Jackson?
This has something to do with walking on the moon.
Well, Neil Armstrong, he was the first guy to walk on the moon, and Michael Jackson, he
I knew it was going dark somewhere.
Oh yeah, George is gonna listen to that. Love it. George, you can probably beep fuck and ass out and just leave everything else.
What's the difference between jelly and jam?
What?
Can't jelly it. And cut.
And cut. Oh, that's fucking awesome.
All right, we're good. So, boys,
Here we are.
2 years.
Has it been that long?
It has been. John's got 2 new boats since then, 68, and you got the 72 now, and the Valhalla, and the Pathfinder. So you've swapped all the boats in the program.
The Pathfinder's mine.
That's yours?
That's mine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a spontaneous purchase.
You mentioned that to me when I picked up tails from you, but tell me about the Pathfinder.
A couple drinks, messing around on Yacht World. Saw something that looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Had a feeling it might be a steal, and DeCabia ended up, because it was down in Shelter Island, New York. DeCabia had a friend of his go give a quick check on it, take some photos. So then I fired off a offensively lowball offer. Basically bought the boat how I would advise anybody to not buy a boat. And sight unseen, no survey, cash deal. And it turned out to be that I found a diamond.
Yeah, but you know what you're looking at.
Yeah, in person.
Yeah.
But it turned out, it's a 2007, and it's got 249 original hours on it.
Wow.
And I, for all intents and purposes, stole it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're 24?
22.
22.
Super clean. It'll Yamaha F-150 on the back of it, so workhorse of an engine.
Yeah.
249 hours, it's
Nothing.
It's new.
Sick.
Yep.
Are you trailering it? Or are you?
I have it in Florida right now.
Yeah.
I haven't even put it in the water and run it yet. I've seen it, but I had to do new steering ram seals and a new helm. They were a little just from sitting.
Yeah.
Rotted and the helm was spongy. But yeah, I still haven't got it wet yet or turned it on.
You should bring her out, throw some silver rod holders in. Have yourself a day.
I was going to put some electric reel plugs so I can go off Miami and catch swordfish.
Hell yeah.
That'd be sick.
That would be sick.
I'm gonna bring it up here for the summer, and then I'll probably send it back south and just leave it there.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows how often I'll actually use it. I got enough boats to
I bet you'll use
manage.
it though.
I'll use it, especially down in Florida. My folks live on the West Coast. It's a perfect boat for Tampa Bay, Charlotte Harbor, all those inshore fisheries, and of course Miami Beach, where El Diablo's based. It's a great platform for tarpon fishing.
We should try to coordinate an offshore permit extravaganza on that thing on the West Coast. That's like my favorite thing down there.
I want to get one on the flats on fly.
I know.
I've never caught a permit, and I'm like, I kind of like a bonefish. It has to be done on fly first.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a completely different experience, I'm sure. We haven't caught them. We've caught them inshore, like just messing around at our grandparents' old house and like little ones and stuff. But the offshore thing's just sick because it's like you can get into double-digit 20 to 40 pounders and
Just fishing over wrecks.
Yeah.
Miami's like that too. We're gone by then. It's more of a summer fishery, but they'll get them out over on top of the wrecks.
Yeah.
Same thing, just putting crabs on jig heads down and
sick.
game on.
Are you good at fly fishing? Yeah.
You're a feather merchant secretly.
I can sling the foo-foo stick. I used to fly fish a lot. I carry a couple fly rods on the boat all the time because they're easy to travel with, store, and just about everywhere we go and will go.
Yeah.
There's opportunities.
Have you caught the hardest nighttime feeding fly fish to catch in the canyons?
Oh, what's that? What's
I
that?
spent an entire night trying to get a squid on the fly.
Oh, yeah.
You got a squid on the fly? like a whole night.
Not in the canyons, but inshore. From the beach I have.
Have you?
Yeah. And I don't know, Woods Hole growing up.
I struggled. They were fucking flipping me off.
What's your most prized catch on the fly?
Probably a 10-pound bonefish, 10, 11-pound bonefish.
Wow.
Sick. Yeah. They really pull as much as people say.
I haven't caught one.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
And, like everything, the tackle has to be scaled appropriately, but they're awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they take off and, skinny water, and they're just throwing a wake, and the line is just ripping across.
Sick.
It's pound for pound. They're a really fun fish.
That's sick. Bonefish or albie bonita fishing up here? If you had to choose on the fly.
Bonefish.
Huh. What if albies were in that shallow water?
Well, I've seen them on the flats before in like 3-4 feet of water.
Yeah.
But do they have that surface kind of tail out of the water run like the bonefish have? They're like waking and shit. And...
No, not quite. I think it's more the bonefish are just so skittish. You got, especially if you're
just trying to get.
If you're stalking them,
yeah.
And you got to land that fly perfect. When albies or bonitas or whatever are feeding, you just have to get it in the mix.
Yeah.
The bonefish, first similar to like a permit. There's times if they're being skittish, that fly's got to turn over and just gently fall into the water. You really can't make a splash or slap with the line.
I would be fucking horrible at that.
I would never get a bite.
No. I can barely catch Jack Crevalles on the fucking fly.
I wouldn't admit that. They're a fun fish. They don't get enough
they're
credit.
a blast. We had my mother-in-law, my mom, Claire, fishing with Dave White in December. And it was fun. Like the weather was beautiful. And it was basically gag groupers or jacks was what was biting. And he got us on a school of jacks, dude. It was fucking so much fun.
Throwing top water on
them. They're poppers, live chumming, then using poppers. And the girls had a blast because we rarely get an opportunity with them to work a surface lure. And it's the perfect fish to learn how to work a spook or a popper.
It's like a bluefish.
It is.
Yeah.
You take the hooks off too, use them as like teasers, and they pull hard. They're they're a nice looking fish with the silver and the yellow accents, and jacks are cool. Jacks are fun.
And when they get huge, they're beasts.
They'll hurt you pretty good.
Still not an amberjack though.
Reef donkeys are brutal,
dude. When we
great charter fish though,
awesome.
Or if you just need to bend rod, like somebody wants to pull on something hard, you get them over a reef and a couple amberjacks, and
they're brutal. They'll hurt you.
Claire and I had one that was probably around 80 pounds with Jason last year. And we had to pass the rod back and forth several times. It was so bad. That was the same day you got that nice cobia.
Yeah.
Now there's a fun fish and a good eating fish.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, they're so good.
Those things are like dinosaurs. You know?
They will wreak havoc in your boat if you sling them in and they come off the gaff.
This one did.
They will break stuff.
Yeah. They're very fucking muscular.
Yeah.
And they got some like nasty little stegosaurus spikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
On their dorsal ridge.
That's one thing about up here that kind of sucks is like there's just not enough edible light tackle game fish. Like there's a few, flounder, and I wouldn't even call it like a game fish, but flounder, bass, sea bass, bluefish.
Bluefish.
You don't get like
you get a little bit more.
We have Spanish mackerel.
Yeah.
like string pulling, decent sized fish that taste good.
Yeah.
I just feel like Florida and other areas are just stacked with that type of fish, Jealous going down there.
Good.
Yeah, just like the grouper fish and like the gag grouper. Like we just ate how much of that shit in the last month?
I would
survive.
I would
But
say
you can also eat anything you want off the bottom here. Down there,
True.
You got to worry about Secretera, but everything's relative. They don't
Right.
get the good cold water, eating fish like we do up here.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm sure there's people listening from down south that are like, "Oh, I wish I had those fish."
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty sweet that we have 1,000-pound animals less than 10 miles from shore at times.
That's crazy.
There's not many other places in the world where you could feasibly catch a blue marlin and on your way in from the canyon stop and catch a giant bluefin.
Yeah,
Maybe Azores.
Yeah, Azores.
that's about it.
Not canaries.
Not like the
really.
Azores. Where not where
The seasons don't line up in the Canaries. I feel like it's like bluefins.
Madeira
April,
gets-
May.
Who just did-
Gets
a
a
rare
Carolinas.
push of 'em.
I just saw someone.
Oh
get
yeah, someone did
300-pound
just
blue
do that.
Yeah.
down there
this week.
Yeah.
which is very rare.
Yeah,
They get the Gulf Stream, so it's similar. They could feasibly probably could see a blue any time of year.
Yeah,
that place is so cool, man. The harbor down there in Wanchese was fucking awesome. I mean, you've been all over the place, but it was like, to me, it was like PI and some of the West Coast Florida marinas had a baby.
It's a salty spot. There's some really, and obviously has a long history of producing great captains and watermen, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's a lot of history. It's just a cool spot from the Outer Banks on down to Beaufort's one of my favorite places to pull into and stay. Just for the same reason, just classic coastal Carolina.
What are you smirking for?
we had a good time.
Oh,
yeah,
Beaufort, Beaufort Grocery when you
Oh yeah,
did the delivery on Blondie with us.
When you caught the wahoo on seaweed?
yes, basically.
I wasn't reeling it in.
A skirted sargassum weed at 12 knots. You caught it on. Didn't you say
What's
it?
amazing? So we put on.
I think we hooked it and then it went through the weed. we
took the drag.
We were actually, it was definitely pretty damn weedy.
Yeah. We actually, come to find out, had quite a few bites after looking at our leads. Our leads were fucking gnarred up. It's amazing how many of those fish try to eat the lead.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
So let's do a little recap before we
Tangent.
We got one really good question that we've been asking everybody. That's been a lot of fun.
Okay.
So 2 years since we've talked, in between there. Your program has changed a bit. Why don't you talk a little bit about the new boat, where you've been? I know you had some good tournament success in the last month or two, right? Mm-hmm. Just kind of talk about what you've, Nantucket to Bahamas to Florida and back in the last year and kind of the highlights.
So 2021, towards the end of 2021, we traded in the 68 after we ordered a 72 Viking to be built. So much of 21, we just fished the 41 Valhalla up here, stored it for the winter. Just so we could focus on building the new boat last winter. Took delivery this past summer, late July, and so far the boat's been awesome. Definitely an upgrade from the 68. 68 was a great platform. No complaints on it, but the 72 just fills in a couple areas that were a little bit more to be desired on the 68. Some space, but mainly in performance. It's a pretty incredible boat. 72 feet and cruises at 38 knots.
Jesus Christ. Cruises at 38 knots.
Yeah, it's a very fast boat.
That's insane. Just thinking about going out in the center console, if you feel like you're going fast.
Yeah.
We can run home from the
almost
canyons.
Full speed on the center console.
Running home from the canyons, I run probably, if it's flat calm, we're running 40, 42.
Wow.
Home.
That's fucking awesome.
It's pretty sweet. 3 hours becomes 2 hours.
That's so nice.
It's a fishy boat, very purpose built. Our 68 was hull 1 of the newer generation 68s. So it was a demo boat, so we didn't design it. This 72 is a very purpose built boat from stem to stern, top to bottom, inside and out, to fit our current needs and anything we choose to do going forward. So she's been fishy since we got her. We had some great canyon trips, some solid bluefin, and then had a pretty good new year so far. We fished the Silver Sailfish Derby, put on by the West Palm Beach Fishing Club, and we're fortunate to take the daily on day 1. We had a top angler for day 1, and then on day 2 we got snake bit by the sails, but we managed to get heaviest meat fish day 2 with a 45-pound king on 40-pound leader, which is pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
You take the kite or the flat line?
Kite.
Oh,
it looked like we thought it was a little tuna the way it blew up, and then it was a barracuda, then it was a wahoo, and then it was a holy shit, look at that smoker.
Yeah. That's sick.
And then we ended up winning heaviest meat fish overall, day 1 daily, day 1 angler, day 2 meat fish, day 2 meat fish angler. I forget what the category was. And the real cool thing was our angler Dylan Torrey took the top overall, which is a really coveted trophy to win at that event.
that's cool.
So that was a lot of fun. Nice to get some pickle dishes. Happy Gilmore check.
Yeah.
And
Happy Gilmore
everyone had a good time, and then we moved on. We're doing we're fishing the Triple Crown out of Los Sueños with a friend of ours, 58-foot Viking called Maya.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that boat.
Yeah, Nantucket boat, but it stays in Costa Rica year-round now.
Yep.
So I went down there. We did the Capos Rockstar tournament, but put on by Pelagic, and then leg 1 immediately after it, and in about 10 days headed back for leg 2. So it works out well. My bosses and I get to fish competitively in the Triple Crown, and saves a long boat ride or shipping our boat there at the moment. And the owner of Maya during the summer fishes with us on Nantucket. It's been a really, really good friendship and trade-off.
That's cool. It's awesome that you're in a, running a program or a part of a program that fishes so much. It seems like you guys fish a lot.
We do. Some of it's half days here and there, but we do. It's inshore, it's offshore. Local to Florida, we got some Bahamas trips planned for the springtime before we come north. And then obviously being home during the summer and fall, that's when we do consistently fish the most. We're fishing a couple days a week for any variety of, fisheries that we have up here.
That's cool.
It's nice. Everything's a little different too. I mean, we might be scup one day, bluefin the next, and then going for albies, and then it's canyons, and it's flounder, it's striper, or bluefish. It's always ever changing.
The tournaments between, Florida and Costa Rica, what do you see for major differences between how they operate? Are there any major differences, or?
The ones we're fishing they're very well run. West Palm Beach Fishing Club does a stellar job. Same with the Los Sueños operation. I'd never fished the Pelagic Rockstar before, but I'll say they did a phenomenal job as well. Tony DeJulian, who's a good friend and who's the tournament director, they all everything's very well organized. Everything's communicated very well.
I feel like that's super important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's always, at the end of the day, this like big,
Yeah, money's
he
involved.
said, she said thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything there is, video required. Well, Los Sueños is IGFA observers on every boat. So you have a different observer every day.
Nice.
That's cool.
The other events, they're video, with, each day you had a different, like you have a boat number card, you have a, different release card for each day, and specific requirements for how the releases have to be done. And it's just it's well communicated, it's, here are the rules, it's what they are.
Yeah.
There's nothing gets changed at a captain's meeting. They're world-class and very professionally run events.
I feel like people fishing them too are a little more professional. It's not such a broad spectrum of tournament fishermen. It's a little more like
What's a destination?
higher caliber, I guess.
Los Sueños for sure.
Yeah.
You have all very professional operations, beginning with the vessel's ownership to the crews and the anglers. That tournament really has, that whole series, I wouldn't say there's any holes in it.
Yeah.
And then West Palm Beach Fishing Club, the Derby's the longest running sailfish tournament in the world. This year was the 86th annual.
That's nuts.
That's unbelievable.
They've got it pretty well figured out at that point.
Yeah.
And they keep it to where it's maxed out at boats. It's 50 boats max. And they do have, you have a wide swath of, you have some like just weekend warrior recreational anglers, and then you have some professional crews. But in the Derby, there's no professional anglers allowed. Meaning if you've been paid to be a captain, mate, or angler, I think the Derby is within a year, you can't touch a rod.
Interesting.
And it's all done. It's 4 rods in the water at all times, 20-pound test maximum, all strict IGFA rules.
So 20-pound test IGFA, are they actually testing the line?
They have the right to at any given time, and they can measure all your leaders too.
What type of line do most people use? Because I know there's like a few different brands that make IGFA line.
All the major ones make an IGFA line.
Yeah.
Momoy, Suffolk, Andy.
Amelon or whatever it is too.
Yeah.
I don't know about
No, they don't make
light.
anything that light.
They don't make anything that
No,
light.
they're just heavy tackle.
Gotcha.
That's what, like, they have to, I know it has to most of the time break under 20 pounds, right? But I think there's like a 10% leeway
They
or something.
give a little leeway. Generally they'll do, if it's like, as I understand the IGFA when they do records, is they'll take a few different samples, break them all, and it's just to make sure that it all averages in the middle.
Makes sense.
But then a lot of it's your leader length too.
Yeah.
And all these events, a lot of it's honor system.
Makes
It's
sense.
one thing to get caught cheating. It's even worse that when you get caught, you're going to get a scarlet letter.
Yeah.
To me, that's worse than anything else professionally.
Absolutely.
To lose your respect to your peers.
Yeah, it happens quick. Doesn't take much.
No. And Los Sueños is the same. The observers, as soon as they get on the boat, if they ask to measure your leaders, you have to give it to them. And that's, everything of that's going to be 30 pound and up, whereas the 20 pound and under 30 pound, the 20 pound is different leader lengths. You're allowed 15-foot leaders with a 20-foot maximum. And then in 30, it's a 30-foot leader with a 40-foot maximum, including double line.
If you were going to sailfish every day for the rest of your life, what would your setup be? Like Pacific
Like
sails.
double line to
I was
hook.
going to say where?
Yeah, and say Costa Rica for bigger Pacific sails.
Oh, just a short little double line, 2 foot, maybe 3 foot. 80-pound crank on, tied with a Bristol knot, with a loop at one end and a 5 foot, 6 foot fluoro leader. We do loop to loop connections. No swivels.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you're actually looping your leader onto, so you can wind it all the way up.
Yeah, and it's also
Probably lighter drag in the water too, right?
a little bit, but it's more. It's actually quicker.
Quicker release.
Quicker when you switch them out.
Oh, gotcha.
Huh.
Gotcha.
And if you snap them off, you don't get a swivel flying back and
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had
heading
that
in your
happen.
hand, breaking your glasses.
Yeah.
The swivels can become some
I'm sure you're
projectile.
I'm sure you're popping at the hook more. I know that like when we were there, we had swivels on. We were like popping at the crotch a lot and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You try to pop it at the like where the snell is.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Sometimes you can't.
yeah, sometimes you never know. Especially if you hook a small blue or a small black while you're trolling, and as soon as you get that light leader, you're probably gonna snap it off pretty quickly.
Yeah. That's cool. You've been so many cool places, man. It's awesome.
I've been fortunate.
It's so sweet. What's been your favorite place so far?
Oh, they're all awesome for their own reasons.
Like fishing wise, not like, I mean, the people, the landscape, obviously it's hard to pick one, I would say, but
Yeah, they're all different.
yeah, like your
Yeah.
favorite fishery.
I like Costa Rica a lot. It's calm. Bermuda's really, really cool. Loved everywhere in the Bahamas that I've been fortunate to go to. Just variety. Some parts of the Bahamas aren't the best fishing. It's such a large country that it's, there's some islands we go to. We're not really going there so much for the fishing as for
Being
the
remote.
scenery and, restaurants and amenities. But there's other places where it is. The fishing is better if you're there the right time of year.
It's cool.
DR, lots of blue marlin, fishing fads, and you're not that far from the dock. It's just rough. But probably Costa Rica, just because it's a slow day in Costa Rica is usually a pretty damn good day anywhere else.
yeah, absolutely.
The fish are just big there too.
Yeah.
Everything in
Like
the
the mahi are fucking enormous. The sailfish are enormous.
Costa Rica taught us a lot for bill fishing up here, even though we were there like a week. It's just
But yeah,
it's a lot of
see,
reps.
I don't know how many shots we had.
80
And we
something
weren't even there
shots.
during prime time.
Yeah.
Isla Mujeres is another place that I enjoyed a lot. You can get a lot of shots too.
Yeah.
With the Atlantic sails, it's just a
Yeah.
little. It's Caribbean in the wintertime, so it's going to be a little snotty.
Dredges and ballyhoos there. You can't fish live bait there, right?
Why is that?
It's just when I was there, it was just said to let only the locals do it.
Yeah.
It's like like you don't fly flags and down there or in Costa Rica because you don't need to. But it's also let the charter boats do it for
Yeah.
advertising.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
But everyone's catching a lot, so there's no need to.
Yeah.
But Isla's a really fun fishery too. That's same style of fishing. Bridge teasers, dredges, small naked baits, fishing 20, 30-pound tackle.
It's cool.
Just a little rougher. But you can have 40, 50 shot days there.
It's insane. Slick's there right now.
It's a cool little island too. Tiny little sandbar off Cancun, and it's a really cool spot.
It's sweet.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet.
I haven't either.
It's on the list.
Very easy to get to.
Puerto Vallarta's on my list too. Have you been there?
Oh,
Puerto Vallarta?
no.
No.
I have a bunch of friends who have for big yellowfins.
Yeah. Just to see like the weird kite shit they do there.
They do a lot of it
Cool
in
to
Costa
see.
They'll fish the kites.
Yeah.
And dead
Balloons
squid.
and stuff. Yeah.
Just skipping dead squid. Or they'll do it more kind of like how some of the SoCal guys that come down do it with the big flyers and pin the wings out.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys just use dead squid and just skip them across. Same in Costa Rica.
It's cool.
I think we should ask that question.
Perfect dovetail.
Yes.
If you had, I guess you kind of could. With
I think it should be 2-part because you could do southern waters and northern waters.
All right. Northeast Canyons. You have a week of perfect weather, like perfect conditions. Doesn't need to be flat calm. Your favorite conditions, good water. What's a tactic that you have always kind of nerded out about or wanted to try out there that you haven't had the time to try before?
Or the right crew, like
Or the right
patient crew that understands why you're trying it. Because I feel like the crew is always the hard part.
Yeah.
I like kite fishing. I've done it a little bit, but I haven't really committed a ton.
Yeah.
But I think kite fishing.
Do you think you would be more productive numbers wise or type of fish size wise? Like, what do you think would give you the edge kite fishing? Or you just want to see if it works?
I just want to see if it works.
Okay.
I've done some live baiting. Probably more at the time. I just got a lot of sharks,
Yeah.
but I know live baiting with, if you're looking for big blue marlin with skipjack or bonitas or something, or small yellowfins, much like the Gulf and places in the Pacific do it. In other parts of the Atlantic, I imagine that you'd get yourself if the blue marlin were there, you'd get yourself some nice fish.
Imagine a big blue eating the kite.
Oh my God.
I just want to see it. I just want to see bites. I think like a
visual
big
bite.
pot of big eyes on. Put out 2 kites and 3 lines
That'd
on
be
each
sick.
kite, like sail fishing in Florida, but with 50s and blue runners, and just see what kind of chaos can happen.
If you got into one of those herds of tunas, it would just be silly.
Oh, it'd be sick.
Imagine going down there with like our mackerel,
You
like
can get mackerel out there.
double trouble rigs, dragging squids around out there with big eyes around. I bet it would just be stupid.
Who was I talking to? Someone in Virginia I was talking to about catching mackerel out there.
They live bait them a lot for white marlin in the Mid-Atlantic.
Oh, have you caught mackerel out there on sabikis and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, and big like chub
type of
mackerels.
chub mackerels?
Yeah, I mean they're chunky one. I mean, there's a nighttime fly fish for you.
Perfect.
I mean, some of them will be like 2-3 pounds.
Oh,
That would be fun.
yeah, it would be.
You'd have a chubby for a chubby.
Do you think there's spots in the canyons? Obviously, like a buoy is one thing, but do you think there's areas in each canyon that you can go to and almost consistently catch live bait? Not being squid, like fish live bait.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're around any piece of fixed gear,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm sure there's probably some areas in certain canyon walls and nooks and crannies in it that probably, due to physiological stuff, will always hold bait of some sort. I mean, there's multiple species of squid out there too, not just the eliks. There's arrow squid, they're pretty big.
I saw one of those actually one night.
Did you?
Yeah, and I nearly shit myself. It was probably, I'm probably going to exaggerate a little bit, but it looked like it was almost 3 feet long when I saw it, and it was like bright red.
And you'll
it looked
mark
fake.
big balls of bait and
Yes.
stuff deep. If you have a good sounder, you'll see where you're marking, stuff that'll look like the cheese that mackerel show up as, and then you'll get stuff that's darker. I've had yellowfins cough up, but look like digested offshore herring or sardines or something before.
Weird.
Big giant like deep water red shrimp.
Huh.
We had a lot of fish with shrimp in them this year.
Yeah.
Snake mackerel. If you can find a way to jig up them little snake mackerels, the tunas and swordfish, they're almost 80% of the time you rip open their stomach, there's a snake mackerel in there.
What trip was it / what boat was it where we were getting hit in the chest with snake mackerels at night?
That was, I think, on Tulsa time.
Nodding off in the cockpit, and all of a sudden it was like,
Yeah.
I don't know whether they were getting chased or
They
what.
had to have been.
And I thought it was a wahoo at the time, but it was a
Yeah.
snake mackerel. They look pretty similar.
They do. They do.
Yeah, I'd love for people to spend some more time and actually figure that out there. How to catch live bait.
Oh, it's not hard.
I think it's just time. You got to spend the time and tinker around, figure out the depth they're holding in certain times of the day, and
You just mark them on a sounder.
yeah,
That's the big thing.
So if you're going out there, like if you what would you, if you could have the perfect bait and everything, what would your spread be kite fishing out there, out in the canyons?
Probably occasionally there's rainbow runners out there. So like a rainbow runner, which is basically like a Speedo.
Yeah.
Blue runner, probably small little, like the little lesser amberjacks. And anything that they're going to be around the buoys or the sargassum mats.
Yeah.
I'd say filefish because they love eating all them little filefish that get in the sargassum mats, but they're like this big.
yeah. Trying to get a hook on that would be tough.
A blue runner or rainbow runner, anything, it's got to come. It has to come from out there.
Yeah.
And if you're putting it on a kite, it's going to have to be something that's living in the upper pelagic zone versus anything that's benthic just for it to survive.
Right. Have you tried bringing any other live baits out there? I know guys bring scup out there, but have you tried like pogies or or our mackerel or
Our mackerel,
bluefish
the
or
warm
anything.
water smokes them.
Yeah.
I brought blue runners. Like I've caught blue runners near shore, sabiki and off buoys and whatnot.
Yeah.
Squid, loaded the well with squid before at night, and they survive no problem.
Yeah.
They're pretty
Those are
funny. If you
tight,
look at them when you
fine.
run out, they grab the bottom of the well. They just look like a bunch of trees in a forest moving around.
So cool.
Huh.
Pogies, they'd probably do all right. You know, I think because they're already warm water.
Yeah. I mean, they're up in like Duxbury, which got to
Yep.
be almost 80 degrees.
Yeah, 80 surface.
Pogies
temp.
will do fine,
Summer.
especially. I think if you can get yourself a bunch of like not the peanuts, but not the full grown.
Right.
That's a pretty awesome bait. Croakers or spot, they call them in Long Island. A lot of guys will bring out. I mean, as long as it survives out there, if it's something's going to eat it.
Yeah.
If the fish are around.
Yeah.
I like to kind of match the hatch though, catch
What's there?
what's out there.
Makes sense. I think those dead flyers would crush out there too. Bringing
yeah,
them like that.
That's a great trolling bait. Just chin weight it with a egg sinker, pin the wings in.
Yeah.
It's like a natural cedar plug.
One thing I do want to try at night, especially, just like as an extra rod, is that whole backpack rig thing.
Yeah. We keep talking about that.
I know.
I don't know if you've heard of it. But
We interviewed Ali Husseini, and we were comparing bluefin fisheries, East Coast, West Coast. And, they're fishing the dead flyers on the kite, but they also fish a flyer like long on the flat line, no balloon or anything. And they take a piece of pipe insulation and they cut it in half the long way. And they pin the wings out in the flyer just like the kite bait, but then they basically like clip the half piece of pipe insulation to their back and then sew it into their back so it matches the
hidden.
dark back.
Yeah,
It's
it's
hidden.
not a lot. It's maybe an inch wide.
So it's still on the surface, and that piece of pipe insulation just holds them at the surface. So they'll have their kite out, one side, and then
And just letting the
and it
current
just
literally-
sits there.
yeah, just
and it
letting it
sits on
sit
the other
there.
side. So it's basically a kite bait
know.
with the other side.
just
It's
have to
sick.
got to get a good sized flyer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're using those big jumbo, like 12-inch ones, which you could probably just size everything down and do smaller flyers.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But even like a mackerel or something, like bringing
Yeah.
dead macs out and just having stuff,
Like
if
a
it's not a
floating
super
stick
weedy
bait?
night or whatever, floating
It
stick.
was similar to with chunk baits, putting foam in the mouth to change the buoyancy of
Right.
your bait.
Yeah.
Yeah, make it right on the surface. I wonder if you can even do it with live bait.
Imagine things just thrashing.
Like a pogie with a pipe insulation on the top. No balloon, just sending her out. You're getting me all horned up right now.
I know.
No, so same question down south. We'll stay Costa Rica because that's one of your favorite, or maybe your favorite place to fish. What's something that you wanted to try there that you've done in other locations, or maybe you wouldn't want to try anything different? They've always been like interested.
I'd like to pull the big swimming plugs for tunas.
Big deep diving stuff.
Yeah. Like not
Are there a lot more
not the
tunas?
smaller ones, but like the stuff that we pull for bluefin or big eyes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that could help increase when you get around the spinner dolphins where a lot of the tunas are. You might be able to weed through because they'll have a whole mix of sizes in there usually. You might be able to pick out some bigger
fish.
specimens, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of bigger specimens, the fucking sickle fins on that yellowfin, man.
Yeah, that's sick. Those are gonna come out nice.
Unbelievable.
That was a special fish.
Tell us about that, because like I caught one, didn't have streamers like that, pretty close with Miles. That's still one of my favorite fish that we've landed in the canyons being out there. You must have been fucking jacked.
That fish got me pretty excited.
Oh yeah.
I've been waiting a long time for, and Allison anywhere is a great catch, but catching one here in New England, it doesn't happen often. It's almost like a generational type catch, it seems. One of the gentlemen on board, who's a Nantucket native, been fishing canyons for 50 years, and he's caught two.
It's unbelievable.
We're trolling around off the edge a bit, some deep water. Saw a bunch of mushies, skipjack up on the surface. And there'd been, we'd been picking yellowfins out from under them all day and made a pass, and a flatline rod went off, and it just was, it was dumping. So I figured, oh, cool, we got a, maybe a small to mid-sized big eye.
Yeah.
And we're still, but it never took a crazy dump and run. But when you catch them on a plug, lots of times they inhale it, and that kind of slows them down anyways. And we're watching it, and I see it deep in color, and like for a second I thought I saw a big sickle. So then I was like, holy smokes. I got into this conversation in my head, like, I'm not saying anything to Hawks, my boss who was on the rod. And then finally it came up again, and I think I kind of, with the headset on, just mumbled like, it's an Allison. I saw Mikey turn and look at me, I'm like, just nodding like, all right, gonna take it nice and easy. And then when that one hit the deck, that was special to catch it with Mikey on board too, because we've done so much together up here.
Yeah. Yep.
But it was, and I don't even think I touched a tread on the ladder going down into the cockpit to help pull it over the side.
That's sick.
And then actually ended up we won the Governor's Cup with that fish.
Did you? That's awesome.
Which is pretty cool.
It is cool.
Hadn't entered a fish in the Governor's Cup, God, since I was probably like 18. I was like, this will probably win the yellowfin category.
100%, yeah.
Didn't you win the Governor's Cup
For the Mako.
Mako, right?
Yeah.
Didn't Bluefish too?
I did a bluefish one year, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that, that's when it was like, oh, that's gonna, I could put that one in.
Yeah.
When you're younger and you're think
Used
about
to
that
collect
type of
pins
stuff.
and stuff for stripers and sea bass and whatever it was as a kid.
Taylor's got a sash at home.
Yeah,
Like Boy
I wear
Scout.
it. That's all I wear to sleep.
He's got his Governor's Cup Weblo sash.
Yeah.
Just flare.
Emily hates it.
Oh, that's fucking funny.
I don't have one of those. For those that are listening,
I'm excited to see where you guys finish with the sickles and tail on that one.
It's gonna come out awesome.
yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk offline about some other things you could do with them too, but
We're doing a live edge coffee table that we'll hopefully be bringing to the Castafari show, which will be cool. Hopefully. Some other cool stuff. A couple guys, man caves, want like custom bar tops done. And
That cutting board you guys did with the sword bills.
or the serving board.
Yeah, CK showed me pictures of it too, and that's badass.
Yeah.
That's a really cool piece.
yeah.
I don't know where that thought came from. Remember just like looking at his bills and I lined them up, and I'm like, because we were originally thinking a piece of wall art.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple places.
And then I was like, let's put them in a serving board. Have you seen one in a serving board?
No.
I've never have.
I've seen them as
I'm sure
like
someone's
wall
done
art.
it.
Yeah.
I think it's the Stewart Light Tackle, one of the tournaments down that area. And they've done one where they've got a whole bunch of them are like glued together like a fan.
That's
but
sick.
they've all been done like washed white, bone white, lacquered, and then a whole scene painted on top of it. And that's what they've awarded as trophies.
awesome.
That's cool. I think it'd be cool. This is going to sound super lame, I guess, maybe. But
Say it anyway.
like an Adirondack chair back with bills.
Oh God.
You know, you have wooden chair.
How about a
arms.
Game of Thrones
Makes
throne?
you think of Pirates of the Caribbean, like he's the leader of
That's what I
cannibals.
mean. That's what I mean. I think that'd be sick looking.
Khaleesi. The Khaleesi chair.
The Khaleesi
We've done
chair.
some
It is Khaleesi, right?
I don't
For
know.
the
I don't.
option.
Who's the blonde
Nantucket.
chick? in
I
Game
think
of
you're
Thrones?
right.
I know you know.
where we'll sand them so that they look bone white, lacquer them, and then I have a buddy who does scrimshaw on them.
Yeah.
And then we clear coat it and put it in shadow boxes, and we put them over all the door frames in the house in Nantucket
That's cool.
That's badass.
as like kind of an homage to the whaling. But then each one's got the latitude, longitude, where it was caught, date, all this, and just a different scene. Like,
Yep.
we have a big one that I should get back soon from Miami. That's gonna probably have like the Florida Straits on it, but everything's just a little different, but all matching shadow boxes, felt lined, and it just looks like they're just floating above
That's so cool.
doorways.
That's really cool.
I feel like when people are, we're all this obsessed with fishing or even hunting, it's just the art.
We just
work.
collect dead
It's
animals,
just-
parts of
yeah,
them.
I mean, the amount of dead animal items in my house right now is absurd. But no, like just you can create so many cool things.
Oh yeah,
pieces of whatever.
Yeah.
You know? And it
Like,
doesn't even have to be.
Maori fish hook on the wall. That started with them doing it out of bone.
Bone.
And whatnot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Bobby Tambascio actually hand cut and carved that whole thing for me. Thing's sweet. Everyone always compliments that thing. It's really cool.
It's a nice touch.
It is. They did a good job. What other good questions you got there, Pally?
I mean, I'm trying to keep it clean here.
That's a difficult task.
We actually just talked about this in one of the other ones regarding dredges. I think it was Damon's is going to air before this, so
Damon's
we can
airs
talk
today.
about this. Damon airs. Okay.
Yeah.
So Damon wanted to really put, which you're going to laugh, he wanted to put a lot of time into fishing natural dredges just to see the difference of getting
Production.
bites and production up here.
Yeah.
What's your favorite dredge?
Up here?
Yeah, up here, wherever you fish. Do you like different dredges, or is there one that you like that goes in the water just gives you the warm and fuzzy?
Squid Nation Squid Dredges pink. It's kind of a
Staple?
it's all world. You can put that anywhere.
Yeah. Like the 9-inch original version?
Yeah, I also like
or
the little
7.
Fat Daddy squid.
A little tiny.
Those things are
yeah.
sick.
They are cool.
I like pink or some version of pink, red.
Yep.
Mud flaps. Mud flaps will work well anywhere. I like the fire tails. The bacon strips are nice dredge bait.
What's the bacon strip?
It just looks, I don't know, it just looks like a bacon strip.
Is that made by Firetails?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it the one that like you put the lead inside the little
Yeah.
pocket?
You can
Okay.
you can let up the original fire tails too. You can
Got it.
checkmate those. I fish such a wide rubber, big sassy shads.
You love those sassy shads. Remember Castafari like 3 or 4 years ago, you were showing me your little notch tail trick and like you were super horned up on them. But they're sick. The action on those things is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I like them a lot, especially you can mix them in with some natural baits if you don't want to do a full natural. Same with the flaps and the fire tails. You can mix them in with ballyhoo or mullet. I pull a lot of the Squid Nation stuff, to be honest. It's that or the mud flaps.
He makes it easy though. He makes
Everything eats squid.
Everything eats squid, and his dredges are, they're tight. They're at this point now they're probably the strongest or one of the strongest built dredge frames, and rigging and all that stuff.
Speaking of dredge frames, how many? So your ideal dredge, single tier, double tier?
That depends. If it's squid, it's single tier.
Why is that?
You just don't need a second dredge. They're all just chains.
Throw them all there.
Yeah, there's no need for a second tier. Natural dredges will be multi-tier. Usually double, triple, maybe even quadruple. If it's mullet or ballyhoo, real mackerel dredge, probably single tier just because of the weight. The sassy shads, I do double tier. Kite fishing will pull. I actually use a dredge while kite fishing for the sailfish. Use a strip teaser.
Yeah.
To lighten
That's
up
pretty
and
common.
still pulling the drift and all that.
Common.
Yeah, just put a little 16-ounce bank sinker on the underside of it. Usually a little float up above just to keep it away from the boat.
That's like
We were just talking about
we're
that.
just talking about that.
I want to do that at night. Night fishing in the canyons, putting a couple dredges on floats off the side of your boats. You basically have a school.
Just gotta remember to bring it in if you go after a fish.
No, I know that. Yeah.
When those file fish are around, like I've seen them in those like, little tiny little spot of sargassum, and then you'll have a pile underneath them. It's exactly what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Look
like all sorts of stuff. I mean, just a squid dredge hanging in the light next to the boat. Any swordfish above 100 feet is going to be like interesting.
If it's too heavy, it's not going to do a whole lot. It's just going to sit there.
Yeah.
That's where the strip teaser's nice.
Yeah, you almost have to build it.
It flows with the water.
You'd have to build one with figure out the floating of it and all that.
Yeah.
Or just a big floating spreader bar with a ton of baits.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
Here we go,
I would
baby.
love to spend more time with Dredges bluefin fishing.
There's no reason why it wouldn't work.
You know?
Just hope one doesn't
Eat it.
tear through and grab it and
Yeah.
rip your rigger off.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely have to be calculated and dialed on like where your flat lines are in comparison to the dredge, like making sure that they're going to eat that fucking hook bait and not eat the dredge. I think it would work really
They're going to
well.
come whack the dredge no matter what.
Yeah.
Things are
Lots of the
wild.
artificial baits. You'll have natural baits. You'll bring it up and they'll be clean cut and slashed through.
Yeah.
And some of them you never even saw the fish.
Wow.
Dredge fishing's cool.
When you're specifically big eye and yellowfin fishing, do you think dredges help or hurt your like hookups?
100% help.
Yeah.
I don't think a dredge can hurt.
Do
You know,
you?
it's that in conjunction with your, whether it's a teaser plug or you're pulling a squid chain, you're still just bringing stuff closer and you're getting bites closer. And I believe you get a better hookup, especially tuna fishing, on your closer baits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just more immediate tension.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'd say there's no reason why a dredge would ever hurt you.
Do you do anything different with your dredges when you're more concentrated on tuna, or you fish them the same?
Fishing the same.
Same. Do you fish different baits and stuff?
Like
You go.
hook baits.
You go more. So like no, just dredge baits. You go more into.
I'm not
the-
going to pull
the
naturals.
squids and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only time I'll pull
rubber
naturals
squids.
up here is
Tournament or
a
something.
tournament, and that's looking more for some more billfish bites.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking for tunas, just a squid dredge.
Yeah, we've had some crazy big eye days, and they're like just tearing the fucking dredge apart, tearing the teasers apart. Mm-hmm. There's been some insane big eye fishing in the last 5 years.
Yeah. Better than it's, I think it all comes in cycles too.
Yeah.
Looking probably the 80s and parts of the 90s, there's reports and stories of guys having pretty insane big eye fishing. I think we're just in a really good cycle. There's a lot of fish around. There's been a lot of the juveniles too that were on the buoys for the
It
last
was like 80-pound
10
fish.
years. But everything comes in cycles. I mean, it used to be longfin albacore used to run away from them. I think I've caught one in the last 9 years. It all comes in cycles. Last year I had an insane amount of wahoo. We had great fishing up here, period, all summer long. But there were a lot of big wahoos around,
Yeah.
starting early, and usually I find that you don't find them usually till a little later in the season.
Are you actually targeting them?
You can.
The ones that you caught where you're just getting them on random baits?
Yeah, usually if we start getting historically, if we start getting cut off a bunch,
Yeah.
we throw out wire and go back over the spots.
Yeah.
But usually I'm not thinking about wahoo up here. It's
Right.
just a nice
Bonus fish.
nice bonus fish.
Yeah.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the Dion Children Foundation. The Dion Children Foundation was established by the Dion family as a way to bring awareness to rare and ultra-rare genetic diseases in children, such as limb-girdle muscular dystrophy, or LGMD. LGMD is a neuromuscular disease that causes progressive muscle weakness, leading to the loss of ambulation, and eventually affects the heart and lungs. Recently, the Dion family was faced with the heartbreaking news that their son Peter and daughter Maggie were diagnosed with LGMD and are battling this rare disease. The core belief at the Dion Children Foundation is that no child should be left behind. For more information or to donate to this incredible cause and family, please visit thedionfund.org. The Dion Foundation is also the official charity of the 2023 Nantucket Big Game Battle. So if you are fishing that event this summer, good luck and thank you so much for the support. Being in Nantucket in the summer, talk a little bit about the inshore white marlin stuff you guys were seeing last year. Weren't you catching them like within sight of the islands?
And that happens. That's any year between off the Nantucket, the Vineyard, even Block Island too. They get the same fishery. The quality of it is year to year.
Yeah.
It largely depends on the water needs to come up off the edge. You need to have some good bait there, and you need some good winds. If it's blowing northeast, they're not going to be. either not going to be there, or if they are, they're going to be difficult to catch.
Yeah.
And it's all about just, going and keeping an eye out for them. A lot of people when they're, even if you're steaming from, say, Newport, going past the west side of the vineyard, keep your eyes out. You may see a dorsal fin, and a lot of people are probably just going to say, oh, that's just a blue shark.
Shark, yeah.
What's your ideal conditions where you're like, we're trying this tomorrow? Like if you haven't seen them, you haven't been offshore, like, seeing a couple tailing here and there. Whatever.
Water temp, seeing a couple breaks, and then light winds, or it's blown south, southwest, something hard to push some nice water up. Couple days of that followed by, a few days of, where you get some nice calm conditions. Mm-hmm. The tough thing is coming off Nantucket and even the vineyard, certain times, especially in July, you might run into, or even early August, fog.
Yeah.
And if there's fog, they're probably there. You just can't see them.
Yeah.
But you can dredge fish them up. When I was on Haruko with Tyler, we had a couple days, we went out with dredges and teasers and naked baits and caught a couple.
That's cool.
So you can catch them trolling. And then you never know, you might get the little bluefin or little yellowfin bycatch.
Or recently 105 incher out there.
I know. Fishing's been nuts down there.
Dude, the bluefin fishing in general has just been absolutely insane. You had some good days on the big boat. I was creeping your Insta.
Yeah, you're like first trip with the new boat. We got a nice 85 incher or so, which was first trip out. I think we were done by 10 in the morning. Got one, threw the boss in the chair to break the chair in, and
sick.
Cut it loose, and cool.
Yeah,
let's go home. Let's go see the pancake man.
You do a good job with fish close to the boat. Like every video I watch of you guys wiring and releasing fish, it's like textbook every single time.
Clean cockpit, communication, keeping the boat in gear, taking them on the side, and just, it's all about smooth wiring. Obviously there's certain instances where you're going to be more aggressive, but if you're not in a rush for anything, bring them up nice and steady, keep their head in the water, and put some water flow going over their gills.
Yeah.
And they'll generally, if they're, not crazy green, they'll stay relatively calm, and then you can get some nice pictures or video for people, and then make a good, clean, healthy release for the fish.
Yeah. One thing that's super important as well, which you do, is especially on the big sport boats where, your running gear is further aft. You can't necessarily like dead boat, pinwheel, whether you're going to kill them or on release. But if you're going to release them on any boat, but especially a sport boat, making sure that whatever, you're usually going to have your best wire shot and opportunity at a clean release and getting their head up when their belly is towards the boat, not when their back is towards the boat.
Talking with tunas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just try to keep them on. I like taking them on the starboard side of the boat. Yeah. Just because they'll always go counterclockwise most of the time. And then it's just easy. I'll keep, I'll just put the port engine in gear. Whatever side the fish is on, I use the opposite engine. Mm-hmm. And then you don't run the risk of, if the fish darts, cutting it off or turning it into hamburger. Yeah. So I'll just put the boat into a little bit of rudder, outside engine, and just either clutch it in or out, or I'll put the trolling valve on and just go into a slow turn, and then we've got complete gentle control of the fish. Mm-hmm. Even if it comes up back to us, it's easy enough for then the wireman to roll back over. Or switch sides until he, comes out on that pinwheel again, or rolls over. Yeah, belly, if we see that the line's coming over his head kind of funny, I'll just tell him, here, stand by, keep the line tight with the angler, and I'll reposition the boat to get a better angle on it. Yep. It's huge, though. And it's just so much better for the fish, too. Yeah, there's no need to beat up on it. And
you see all these panics on Facebook and Instagram lately of releasing these fish, and it just makes me sick to my stomach.
I know.
It just comes from inexperience, for the most part.
That's what I mean. It's
inexperience, lack of being taught appropriate, techniques or protocol. It's just excitement. Everyone gets excited.
Oh yeah, that's one cool thing about like podcasts and seminars and things. You can, even if you can help 5 more people the next year to be a little more calm and actually
It's about safety first and foremost.
Get a clean release on these fish.
Yeah.
That's worth it in my mind.
And try to beat the fish quick.
Yeah.
We try to beat everything, and if we fight it for more than an hour, start getting impatient.
Same.
Yeah.
1 hour, we're at like 65 pounds of drag.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For first round, we were 35 pounds at strike, 36 pounds at strike. After the first run, push it past the button.
Yeah.
After the second run, halfway to sunset.
Yep.
And if we get them stuck straight up and down,
All the way. And hand pressure.
yeah, stop it or pop it. And once you start getting them up, then bring it back a little bit. With the good angler that's experienced, we'll do that. Otherwise, we'll just leave it or maybe push it on the button. But, be wary to know that when it takes off, back the drag off to let it go. I love the sound of the heavy tackle crackle, but I don't want to hear the snap.
Exactly.
No, it's heartbreaking. What when you're fishing, I don't know how many days you fished Chatham this year, but what seemed to be kind of like the key ingredient to getting bites there? And I know that common theme is a live bait on the bottom, but what's
At one point it was bottom baits. Then we had another day where we got a ton of bites all on like floaters and mid-level water column fish. Mm-hmm. The bigger fish were definitely right on the bottom this past year. That's for sure.
Yeah.
so you were just dropping all the way to the bottom and reeling up X amount of cranks and
Hit the bottom like 5 cranks. And a couple times there's kind of like daytime sorting where we'd hit bottom. And as soon as we locked it up and turned, the fish was already there.
Yeah.
Didn't really matter for the bait too. We got a mackerel. Got a few on dead cod. And we had one where the kid who was Matty Mercer who was baiting for us one day, he had a cod in his hand that was dead. And I marked one. I said, just rifle that down. Put the hook through its eyes. Just hook right through its eyes, hit bottom. He came tight and bang, it was like
so
105 inch or so.
someone got a few on dogfish, I heard this year. Which I'm sure
And they'll eat
it's
anything.
probably true.
They can eat whatever they want.
Got a few with nothing but dogfish in their stomachs.
Yeah.
We never had a problem catching mackerel. For the most part, there were a couple days where all of a sudden it seemed like they disappeared.
Yeah.
But late season, we have so many pogies on the south side that we always had. We filled up 2 pens with them in one day this fall. We probably had like 600 pogies penned up.
Were you dropping those at the bottom too? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was still stop, try to catch some mackerel.
Right.
Same if we're going out or, I put some bluefish in a pen too. If we got into a nice little school of blues, we'd fill that up and try to bring a little bit of everything out.
Yeah. Yep.
And then trolling, ballyhoo and bars, the usual.
Yeah.
Planer bites, but during the September, the little ones were so thick that, I think the planer kind of hurts you if you're trying to catch numbers.
Yeah.
Just for lack of speed of trying to get them in and deal with
Trying to clear the planer and
yeah.
if you hooked a multiple, if you had 2 or 3, you had to get the planer up to then get after them.
Are you fishing a planer bridled or are you fishing LP?
LP.
Yeah.
LP or a hooker reel, whichever one I grab in the morning. The LP is a little bit more controlled. The hookers are just so damn fast. It's pretty terrifying how quick they.
I haven't fished one yet.
They're a sweet product. It's for. I know a lot of guys in Florida have been using them as kite reels. We got them just primarily to do deep dropping. A lot so when we're up here, so we had the LPs for the dredges, and then we just have 2 deep drop setups ready to go, and it's fast. Mm-hmm. And you got to learn if that reel is pushed into low speed, that's like an overdrive. So if you hit it, that handle will spin with it.
Watch your knuckles.
Just messing around with. I thought I broke all 4 knuckles. I was like, how fast does this thing go? Cranked it, and it must have been like 3-4 whacks across my knuckles. And just turned it off and just whimpered into the inside the boat.
Like Family Guy.
But we use the cod fishing a bunch. Like we'll put a big old bait on it, like looking for in the fall, like looking for a halibut. We'll put out that on a deep drop rod. Who's going to want to reel in a halibut?
Yeah.
Use the button. But yeah, always an electric reel for the planer.
You ever had a really catastrophic tackle failure that, like, I mean, you're obviously super detail oriented, but what's one of the worst, like, reel blow ups, rod breaks, anything crazy like that happen to you?
I've had some anti-reverse dogs let go.
Yeah.
Then
That's
you're
how
just on free spool.
No, anti-reverse.
Oh, with
like
your,
you fight,
with your
fight the
handle,
fish, and the angler's
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've
Resist.
had that happen.
got to hold it. It used to happen on the Tyrannos quite a bit.
Yeah.
There's an easy fix. Pop, you get the fish in, just you take the gear side of the reel casing off, and it's just a spring adjustment. But that's always someone's holding the fish and it takes off. All of a sudden, it's it's an old school knuckle buster reel.
Yeah.
As for rod breaks, no, I don't think of not anything in recent memory that was too catastrophic. Really, just I've had some reels, minor mechanical failures.
Yeah.
Which could be from, shit luck or minor design flaws by a manufacturer. More than often, I think it's just, especially when you're fishing hard. We had one on Mulberry Canyon years ago on a big eye. The reel just seized while the fish was running. Almost took the angler with him.
I had that.
And I don't think there's anything you can do.
70 once.
That's exactly what happened to us too on a Penn 70. The only Penn reel we had on the whole boat.
I mean, those reels are awesome.
Yeah.
Actually,
we had that happen.
It was the Shimano Tiagra 80.
Yeah.
Was it?
I was going to say,
A lot of the 80s,
the
because
50s.
50
That
all the
sets your
Tiagras back
backs
in the
off.
day,
Yeah.
the drag plate, the 4 set screws, if you didn't take them out of the box, if you didn't put a little Loctite on them,
Yep.
from the clicker going over everything, it was the clicker plate screws. It would pull them out, mostly on the 80s and the 130s.
I had
And
one
they
happen
would
on-
fall out and lock up the gear.
I had one happen on an 80 with Rob West. Luckily, we weren't hooked up. It was like on the shotgun, and we went to clear it, and it was seized. Then we had to pull it in by hand. And
Didn't we have one on a 50?
On a 50?
Nick's boat? Nick Mazzaco's
or
boat.
Tulsa time, one of the two. I can't remember.
might have
Remember,
been-
you
I think it was-
you could hear the difference.
Yeah.
it's
It would almost
creepy.
sound like a soda can.
Yeah.
Rattle, and then you knew, and you could pull it off, and there'd be usually one was already out, and then it was like another one was getting loose, and you could see that clicker plate starting to have play.
Yeah. We broke 5 handles last year.
Yeah. Handles we've broken just because people.
Rod
Don't-
holder
don't
fishing, it's
fish.
just going to happen. It's just, there's so much torque
Yeah.
right at that, where the shaft, the handle meets the arm of the handle. There's just so much torque there. People like trying to get to the handle to the
Putting their
top.
entire
It's just
body
way
weight.
too much torque.
Yeah. The only like big rod I've ever broke was a 50 in shark fishing, actually.
Oh, yeah.
One of those like screwing around with a shark on the side of the boat deals and left the bait in the water, and the leader was wrapped like down the guides. And it ate a bait, and I saw it the last second and was like, I couldn't get the rod out of the holder, and it broke the rod in half. But I haven't had any tuna breakage. I've had a bunch of bass breakage.
I lost an 8
High
set up
sticking.
overboard.
Oh, I've
On a
lost
bite.
reels too. Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, no safety line on it.
Yeah.
Fish, to a degree, I don't like to run a lot of safety lines just because they end up getting cluttered. At least on like lighter tackle stuff.
Yeah.
We had in the midst of some chaos in the canyons of killing a whole bunch of fish. You're putting everything out, and then a fish bit, and it must have thrown a little loop when it popped out the clip, and it grabbed the tip. Thing came out so fast into the water that I remember looking at Mike and just staring. We're all looking, started just counting. I'm like, that rod, that's gone. And we were just looking because it happened so quick that, it came out of the holder like a missile. Like not even like a splash and bubble trail, just gone. And I remember just being stunned. Like, did I really just
Do that?
witness that? Like,
It's so funny.
I was like, that's why you use safety lines, John.
We've had a couple of cool rod recovery stories with charters. We had one drunk guy drifting chunks off the back in the river, dropped like a, I don't know, $800 setup in the water, and OG comes flying back and ended up catching it on a pokey snagger. We got it back. We had another one at Race Point go over the side and then snagged on the wireline setup, and we got that spinning rod back. It's funny how shit like that happens. Oh.
When do you guys start fishing again?
We are OG's slaves by April 1st. And then we start fishing May 15th. Mm-hmm. Do a couple haddock trips. We honestly don't really push the haddock all that much anymore.
Oh, I love haddock fishing.
It can be fun, but
it's fun when it's it's fun with charters. So, you're a charter client, we're not knocking it at all. It's just, it beats, you spend so much time getting the boats ready for a long season, and it instantly brings you down to halfway through the season level, and all your shit's getting beat up. It's just a lot of wear and tear right off the rip. But, we've been pretty much going straight into bass. I think with the winter that we're having, we're definitely going to go straight into bass. I think it's going to be one of those
it's been pretty mild.
Cinco de Mayo sort of, kickoffs. Hopefully get some nice slot fish early in the rivers right off to the rip when the herring are there, and we got a good inshore fishery. That's honestly one of my favorite. That's what
you guys have the quality bass fishery that I grew up with on the south side now.
Dude.
It was bananas.
We do pretty
year.
good off Nantucket, but everything in front of Falmouth and Woods Hole will, in the islands, the sound will still get a good spring run, but it's not like it used to, where historically all the big fish would almost always be south side and off the east side. And now I think a lot of it's just the bait. You have all the pogies and mackerel so early on that they just stay on that healthy bait. Once the squid are pushed out of the sound, and the water gets so damn warm in the sound now.
The near shore bass fishing, inside the 3 mile, what we consider our offshore inshore.
Right.
Unbelievable last year. It was unbelievable. We had
Stuff off the backside of the province
just in the bay.
In the bay.
Off
a mile out of the harbor.
Mine at light to 21 can.
Yeah, when all the pogies and the whales are tight in there.
Boston.
And it wasn't even it was pogies, definitely bogey driven, but there was many days they were on the herring, they were on the mackerel.
Yeah.
Inshore baits.
We had one day where between the two boats we both had charter limits, and then we probably released 70 overs between the two boats. Mm-hmm. Quads.
In a 6 hour
casting
trip.
surface lures, just on 6 hour trip, 80 something fish between the two boats, up to 50 pounders.
Damn, that's good fishing.
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
You just get into the point, you're like, all right, what do we have on the boat that has one hook in it and it's easy to take out?
Yeah.
The minute you have your limit and you're just kind of having fun after that point, it's what's the least amount of damage? You take hooks off, you're just playing with poppers on the surface, watching them bite.
That's the best.
Yeah.
That's you do bait and switch for fly fishermen. Get a whole new demographic.
Be sweet.
Just rip poppers and then drop the flies in.
I don't know
awesome.
if OG has the patience for fly fish.
No fucking way.
I would love to see him fly fishing.
He used to be super into it. He's one of those guys, he doesn't just dabble in something.
Yeah.
He'll become proficient at it.
And then
he's
move
like,
on.
yeah, I'm done. I'll try this.
As a kid, I fly fished a ton. I mean, 5 weights to 12 weights, had everything. Tie-in flies.
Sick.
And
Teaches
then-
you a lot.
Yeah, especially doing it from shore. Shore fishing, you learn how to read water a lot, but gave me a whole new appreciation. Bluefish were fun.
Yeah.
Again, and then same with stripers. You catch a fish that's okay on a spinning rod, but then you catch it on a fly and you're like, wow, this is a little harder again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had people fly fish for billfish. I haven't done it yet, but I'd love to do some billfish fly fishing, and I'd almost be curious to drop a fly into yellowfin school or bluefin school or big eye on a fly.
Nick
Big on a fly
Mazzacco.
sounds terrifying.
Nick Mazzacco al dente. You might know the time frame, but I want to say it was south of the vineyard, crazy bluefin bite. It was yellowfins and bluefins all mixed together. And he switched one off a hookless bar to a 12, 14 weight fly rod, a 65 incher, and got
Sweet.
it. Yeah. He has it mounted at his house. It's pretty cool.
I'd be pretty proud of that.
Yeah. He's super proud of it.
I think that's the last time he ever fly fished for tuna, though, because he got beat up so bad.
Yeah.
Done mahi in the canyons.
Yeah,
you want to
mahi
have
would
a
be
blast in the canyons. You just go out to a high flyer and throw a fly, and all you really needs a 9 weight does just fine. 8 weight even. Most of them are going to be peanuts or chickens, occasional baler, but that's a blast just to mix it up.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love mahi fishing.
Oh, hell yeah. It's the tough thing is up here, they get hammered so badly.
Yeah.
You know, every Tom, Dick, and Harry kills every one, whether it's a pound or 11 pounds. And they're such a fast-growing fish. If you see them and they're like 3 pounds on the flyers in mid-June, by the end of August, that's probably going to be a 10-pound fish.
Yeah.
Because they grow that fast.
My first trip ever to the canyons, we quadded on like true bailers. Just like tuna spread out.
And you got some big ones up here. And Nugent caught a big one many years ago. Hairball with Ty Warren.
Yeah.
Old Patriots lineman.
That thing was huge.
It's a state record.
50 pounds or
60
pounds?
62, 63
Jesus
pounds, still standing.
That's like a cool
John
thing.
Pilcher had the year before had a 48 or 50 pounder.
It's unbelievable.
Caught quite a few, some 20, 25s.
Yeah.
And they're a fun fish.
They're
Especially if it's slow fishing, that can help save a trip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Especially like 20-pound spinning gear, fly.
Your white marlin shit, all that's still a blast.
And the whitey stuff is striped bass gear.
Yeah.
That's all we use. Same stuff that we throw for bass and bluefish, we throw for dolphin and white marlin.
Yeah.
What else you got, Bri?
Oh, man.
I feel like there's this elephant in the room of talking dirty, but we can't really go there.
Well, I kind of one like career question. It's kind of a broad question, but you've done a lot. You've worked in tackle shops. You've charter fished. You've done seminars. You've built up private programs. You and I are like the same age. How old are you now?
I'll be 40 in a month.
What advice would you have for, high school age kid, coming into college, whatever else that seeks to kind of become what you've become? Like what do you think has contributed most to your success and getting you to where you are?
Passion, first and foremost, obsessive passion definitely helps. I've been very fortunate to work with and also know some really great captains and even mates, both peers and older, that really helped kind of show me like the right path of what to do, and through that was able to observe and watch individuals and realize what not to do. I think it's charter fishing. Being willing to take, it's not an easy profession, in the sense of, it's very economically driven. So you have to be ready for some valleys. But you got to be ready to just like leave home.
Yeah.
I was lucky in that for the most part, I've always been in New England in the summers, but I was always prepared that at some point at some point down the line, that may still end. Just be ready to just leave home.
Yeah.
And just go out wide-eyed, isolate who the people are you want to work with or work for, or at least get to know, and surround yourself with people who are successful in the industry. Success will perpetuate success, just like any business.
Yeah.
But be a sponge. No question is a stupid question if you don't know the answer. Probably have a million euphemisms I could use.
You're so wise.
But you just got to commit to it.
It's a beard, dude. How much intelligence does that beard hold? It's like,
you got to commit to it and like be ready to grind. Like if you fish for a couple years, don't think that you're going to be some mate that's worth $80,000 a year.
Yeah.
If you're in a private program. If you're going to charter fish, don't get upset that you're blue fishing when the tuna fishing's great.
that's what I see the most.
And embrace all of it. Like remember, fishing's got to be fun. You got to have fun. Be serious, but not too serious. And if you're going on the private side, this day and age, sure you're gonna fish, but we're yachtsmen first.
Yeah.
It's the boat maintenance. It's hospitality with ownership and their guests. You might be going on a cocktail cruise when everyone else is going to catch tunas or sailfish, and don't get upset with it because it's like play the long.
Yeah.
You know, if you want the career, if all you want to do is fish, charter.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's, you know, but it, like, just commit to it all. Don't be lazy.
Yeah.
You know, grind and constantly be learning. That's the important thing. I mean, still in this day and age that I've been so fortunate to have done the things I've done, which is far more than my imagination as a teenager. I'm still learning. Guys older, guys younger, you know, guys the same age. It's a perpetual education, and you have to have that same approach, you know, and don't become too good for anything.
Yeah.
That's what we've seen a lot of that trouble, the too good, you know, looking for mates and stuff to work with us. It's kind of the same thing, you know, people, they want because they see all these pictures of big tuna fish, and then it's like, oh no, you're going to do 60 striper trips.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna do a burial at sea.
Right, you're going to do a burial
and you might not be able to go fucking tuna fish.
We're going to go tour mine at Lighthouse, and you can't put a rod in the water.
Yep.
Like, and they look at that and they don't want to. You know?
I think if they're young, charter fish, because you're going to learn, you know, a variety of fisheries, how to work under pressure. You know, work on a inshore charter boat, offshore charter boat, head boats. My time on head boats in college was invaluable looking back.
Yeah.
Especially for untangling messes.
Yep.
You know, grind through all that and then decide, but do you want to do it for a living? You know, or do you just want to do it for X amount of years? You know, figure it out. If you want to do it for a living, if you're a New England kid, you got to go south. You know, and get on a boat down there, even a charter boat. You know, learn different fisheries. All fisheries can overlap with each other as well.
Yeah.
The more, just like any profession, the more well-rounded your skill set is, the more valuable you will become. Mm-hmm. But I think it's if you're a young guy, you know, coming out of like late middle school, like 8th grade, coming into high school, start grinding on a charter boat in the summer months, and then same with college. Do the same. You come home, or if you're not going to college and you want to go into the marine field and fishing field, just keep grinding harder, get some certifications and, you know, systems or whatnot, because that'll all, if you want to eventually go to the private side, that will all translate to further success and make you a more viable candidate in many aspects.
What were you most nervous about going into captaining a big sport boat? Because it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. Like, you go from fishing on a, 30, 40, mid 40 foot charter boat, even private boat, and then you're running a 70 footer. Like, there's got to be
the systems.
Yeah.
The systems are a lot more complex. Your daily, weekly, monthly, annual maintenance changes. You know, a lot of it, it's you can find something to do 8 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Notice he said 8 for those listening.
Yes.
In terms of operating it, you know, only go as fast as you're willing to hit something.
Yeah.
It's all relative. If you're driving a 40-foot boat to an 80-foot boat, the core concepts are the same in terms of your operation and your navigation. That doesn't change. It's just your approach to, you know, docking situations and whatnot are altered just because the boat handles and is affected differently by conditions. A lot of it's just the management. You know, good log keeping is so vital. I was fortunate to learn that from a lot of guys. It's log everything.
Yeah.
Like, even for your own maintenance scheduling, hours on whether it's engines or water maker filters or ice maker filters, your waxing schedule, you know, cleaning out your central seawater pumps, cleaning your teak, you know, cleaning bilges. It's have everything. The more structure you have, the better you're going to be. And it's also going to reflect better on you. Inevitably, when that boat goes up for sale and you present that to brokers or new ownership, it's just going to make you look better. And then your reputation, because reputation is everything in the industry.
Yep.
It's just good log keeping, not just like your fishing log, your sea time, like all the aforementioned boat related stuff. Have a good, strong scheduling stuff. It's all like the non-fishing stuff is going to make the fishing
Better.
stuff better. How you present yourself too. Don't show up looking like you just walked out of a rave or like Gronk cruise.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to be
Gronk
clean
cruise.
shaven.
Gronk cruise.
You don't have to be clean shaven, no tattoos, all that. You can, but just present yourself well.
Yeah.
Be well spoken. Be respectful.
professional.
Yeah. The more versed you are in having a wide variety of conversations with guests on board, whether it's private or charter, is huge. It's all part of the hospitality and entertainment part of it.
Yeah.
Because everyone that's on the boat, whether it's a paid charter or a guest of ownership, they're there for fun. It might be the only day of the year that they go fishing. Try to make sure it's their best day.
Don't take it for granted. I mean, you've seen crazy shit. You've seen slow days. It's like, ultimately you're the difference maker at the end of the day for people that haven't
Exactly.
experienced it. So like, it's a lot of pressure, but the more reps you get under your belt, and to your point, charter fishing, it runs you through that whole gamut from changing oil filters to meeting new people to
Rod and reel repair.
everything.
Yeah.
It's on you. You're not going to make money if you're not doing it.
Attention to detail. The old adage, successful fishing starts at the dock, forever rings true.
Yeah.
And it's, Decabia, Mark likes to always say, 10% catch 90% of the fish. And it's, the devil's in the details.
Yeah. What did Seth say? What was his? We're posting his after Damon, but he's like, I forget the percentages that he used, but he's
Roughly
like,
the same.
Your over preparation will repay you like 20% of the time. Like 20% of those trips having the extra this rigged up, or
We were talking about having a bucket full of mackerel every morning.
Yeah.
And like out of all the trips, the hundreds of trips we did this year, 5 of them it actually mattered to have a bucket full of mackerel. But those 5
it made all the difference.
It made it go from maybe 1 bite to 5 bites.
Yeah.
In
Proper
each day.
preparation prevents piss poor performance.
Correct.
It's right now, I'm already rigged up for the canyon season and bluefin season. By July, we'll start tying up all the new sailfish leaders. Still have some left over, but I'll start replenishing everything. Part of it's organization. As you go through it, say, all right, a notepad, half-ounce egg sinkers, need, 100-pound swivels, need X, Y, Z.
Yep.
And then just, if you're never get caught on the boat where the captain or the owner asks, do your best. Everyone's human and makes mistakes, and there is oversight, things get missed. But try your best to always be ready for every situation. Because sometimes it's fishing slow and a different species pops up. Be ready to, you learn that charter fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Change on the fly because, oh shit. In the canyon fishing slow, but all of a sudden we see a ton of dolphins around. Like, all right, we're going to need more than just the 2 spinning rods. Get the others out, rig up. Or all the tunas are small, we're seeing them come up and they're not eating the big stuff. Need to make a quick change. Striped bass fishing sucks. You start seeing bluefish blitzes in the distance. Be ready to swap it all over. I think that's versatility and attention to detail. And, just a good attitude.
Yeah.
That's a really important thing, because part of it's doing dock work. Don't complain about yard periods. If you're on a charter boat, you got to put some sweat equity in.
Yeah. Always be busy. Like unless I'm on sounder watching duty, I'm never sitting down. I'm never stagnant. Like you're watching the rods, or you're rigging something, and watching the rods, or you're entertaining.
Clean.
Clean.
I'm big on a very clear cockpit at all times.
Yes.
Nothing that anybody can slip on.
No yard sale cockpits. I've seen a lot of them. Fucking pots and pans and flats of mackerel and like dart line everywhere, and like clearing rods and putting rods on deck.
It should almost look like you're not even fishing.
Yes. Couldn't agree more. Will you tell him that a few more times?
He's exaggerating.
I'm not fucking exaggerating.
I can be messy.
You know, in the heat of the moment, things happen.
Oh, yeah.
But as you get tight on a good fish, even after the angler's settled, they're settled in. They're going to be there for a little while.
Yeah.
You know, say bluefinning. And we got them in the chair. Then it's, all right, you know, maybe in higher, sometimes I'll see things, hey, can you move that bucket, kick those safety lines underneath the gunnel, you know, put those rods up in the tower leg or hand them up to me, get them out of the chair, clear everything. Mm-hmm. I want it to look empty because then there's less chance of, you know, anything negative happening.
Yep. Be ready to catch another one immediately.
When you're fishing in the cockpit, wear boots or shoes, closed-toe shoes.
We've talked about that.
That's a major one for me.
That story, man. I mean, I know we said it in the last podcast. If you haven't heard the last podcast, check it out. But fuck.
It's not just for that instance, but there's hooks, there's gaffs, there's bluefish can do damage on your foot, you know, let alone a wahoo. You get a Spanish mackerel up here on board, that can slice you up good. Mm-hmm. Fluke got sharp teeth. There's knives. There's
just a knife falling off a cutting board.
You slip and slam your toes into a cleat. You can snap your toe right in.
Oh, yeah.
There's too much to go on. You know, a little, you know, a dog down hatch on a fish box is kicked up.
Yep.
I've done it before. Barefoot, blasted a toe right through it. That hurts.
There's a lot of guys
and it's
that fish
when you're
barefoot.
leadering. I mean, I've fished barefoot a lot. I mean, lots of times like, I'll come off the bridge. I'll be barefoot. But if I'm in a pit, I have sneakers on. It's also for traction. If you're going to leader fish or gaff fish, it's going to give you traction. You're going to be on a wet deck, whether it's non-skid or teak.
Yeah.
It's going to be wet.
Yeah.
You know, and then that comes back into the clean deck. If you've killed a fish, get rid of all the slime and fish blood.
Yep.
You've been bait rigging or doing something, you see a piece of fish on the deck, pick it up, rinse it off, get rid of it because that's a safety hazard.
Ballyhoo beaks.
That turns into that whole paying attention to detail.
Yeah.
And never stop moving. Have your eyes scanning everything constantly, not just for fishing, but
potential hazards.
Yeah, or you might be scanning through and you see, ooh, that line's got a little chafe in it. Don't think it and ignore it. If you see it,
just do it.
Cut it, retie it.
Yep.
You know, don't, there's a little, that'll probably work. Nope, cut it, retie it, recrimp it.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at how many different boats you go on that they put the lines in the outrigger clips wrong and don't realize it. Like that's one thing that's like once they're in the clips, even though you've done it 100,000 times, just look, just double check because like
we all do it. You know, in the heat of a moment.
Oh yeah,
you accidentally twist it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yep. Always scanning, always looking, super important. Situational awareness.
Mm-hmm. Spatial awareness, all the above.
The whole footwear thing too sounds so stupid and simple, but just speed. You know, you watch like getting to the rod at the right moment with a circle hook or preventing a gut hook.
Your back and knees.
Yeah.
Over time will thank you.
100%.
Probably shoot to Miami quick for a couple days, then home for March till March 19th, 20th. Go back to Costa Rica. And then April, just do Miami, some Bahamas. And then May, we'll do a Bahamas trip. And then yard period and start getting everything back up this way. Ready for another go-around.
When's your kickoff for your Northeast season? Typically, once you're out of the yard.
I'll arrive with the big boat on island by July 1.
Yeah.
The 41, like mid-June, I usually get it over there. And then we'll be here till usually second or third week of October, give or take.
That's a good, it's more than I would have thought, you guys being up here. That's a good season up
July, here. August, September, and half of October.
That's awesome.
Usually I'll move, the 41's the first to go. Bring that comes over to get hauled out and usually service done on the engines, shrink wrapped. And then the big one, I'll come here for a few days before I go south to load stuff on, load stuff off, and just provision it, get fuel, and look for my window to get down there quick. Same way coming north, it's a little different. Weather's more stable, and 41 goes on a trailer, so that one's always good. But with the big one going north, I only need really 3 days, 3.5 days of nice weather because of its speed and having all the daylight.
You fish your way up at all, or you just kind of screw up?
Rarely.
There? Yeah.
Usually I won't even put cushions in the bridge. It's just hammer down.
Yeah.
It's usually my goal. Depends on, I have stopped in the past. Like if I know there's some good fishing off North Carolina, like of Hatteras or something, I'll bank out and have 2 or 3 rods out and we'll just fish them off the rod tips. Or put them in the riggers, but leave the riggers up.
Yeah.
Just try to catch 1 or 2 and then keep rolling. But generally, no. My mindset's up before dawn and just hammer down, try to make, in springtime, try to do 400, 450 miles a day if we can.
That's cool. We covered
A lot of driving.
Covered one of my last questions. I have one cool, creative last question that we've been asking everybody. 6-person crew, and one of them, one's including you. So I guess 5-person crew plus you, and one of the crew members has to be a celebrity of some sort.
So 4 people plus a celebrity.
4 people plus a celebrity. Who are you picking?
To the canyons or like just in general?
Fishing in general.
Yeah, it's fishing in general.
Oh, I'm taking hawks.
People might get upset with these questions, but I like it. I like getting people.
Well, Mikey, we've been fishing together for so long. We're such good friends. There's a degree of comfort and I think familiarity that we have.
Yeah.
Very quickly followed by Freddie David, who fishes with us a bit in the summer and all winter long. For the same reason we've been fishing together for so long, with El Diablo, that there's familiarity. And he's just, they're both slayers.
Yeah.
So it's 2. Probably CK, just because he's been from Blondie to El Diablo now, again, familiarity. He makes me laugh.
It's very important.
3. Oh man, this is hard now.
Yeah, it is. It's tough.
There's a lot of people that I'd put on.
Yeah, not discrediting anyone who's been a part of your crew
Yeah.
or is currently a part of your crew, but like
I was thinking from over the
sometimes
years.
you got to change it up a little bit,
Yeah. There's a lot of people where I really just can't pick one over the other.
I told you.
It's hard.
I mean, those first 3, there's lots of familiarity.
Yeah.
And I think that's always important on the boat. Knowing where things are, how you're going to drive, their abilities outside of fishing on the boat, in terms of mechanical safety, operations.
Maybe you need a curveball. Maybe you need somebody that isn't that good at fishing but can entertain. Or maybe you need someone that can cook. Or maybe you need girl.
If I'm looking for like cook and fishing, Paul Murray.
Yeah. I would love to fish with him.
I mean, Paul's an incredible fisherman. He's also a pretty damn good cook too. I'd have my buddy Primo, my buddy Mario from Costa Rica.
Primo is a fucking savage.
He's my
nickname.
boy. Absolutely. Fishing, humor, hospitality. Mario's just a special human being. You got to have Primo. Everyone needs a Primo in life. So what's that?
That's your 4.
That's your 4. You got celebrity all-star now.
Any celebrity?
Any celebrity you want, alive or dead.
Ernest Hemingway.
Oh my God, dude. That's a great choice.
Great choice.
No question.
That's a great fucking choice. Oh, I wish I thought of that.
Stories, fishing, and after trip drinks with stories of fishing. I mean,
That sounds amazing.
have rum with Papa Hemingway on board?
Oh my God.
Come on.
Absolutely. Mine's Theo Vaughn. I hope that he listens to this at some point, like randomly, miraculously, but having him on the fucking boat, dude, oh my God, it would just be unbelievable.
If anybody listening to this has any kind of in with Theo Vaughn, we need to get him fishing, and we need to record him fishing.
Yes.
Just to see what the hell
Who's
he
your
says.
celebrity?
Who's my celebrity?
Yeah.
Who did I say last time?
I can't remember.
I don't remember who I chose last time. God, the Ernest Hemingway thing's got me thrown off.
Well, when he said dead or alive,
Yeah,
and
that
Larry-
was just
That's
Larry-
an
an
incredible choice.
Like a Larry Dahlberg or someone weird like that in the fishing industry for a long time. Someone I've never met.
The celebrities probably that was the easiest one.
Yeah, celebrity.
Because
He's
with
not
the
really
other
a celebrity, though.
I could rattle off another four. DeCabia, Snicky, Tyler, and Jason.
Yeah.
Buddy Tuna Bob.
Celebrities.
Turbo would be one for me.
Turbo.
Weber would be one for me.
So Robbie Goodwin would be always a pleasure on board.
Yeah.
And there's so many great guys, especially from up here. I mean, plenty down south too. You really can't just pick one because everyone's all. Everyone's talented and entertaining and accomplished fisherman, but celebrity then it gets interesting. Except
Absolutely.
for doing Hemingway, yeah, you can't. There's no one touching
No,
him.
not at all. I think the fact that you can't, it's hard to hone in that crew just goes to show you like you've built a strong network. You're surrounded.
Yeah.
You've surrounded yourself with a lot of incredible people.
Like for the Sailfish Derby, I had Freddie and Snicky, and then then Tuna Bob jumped on for a day. We had Tuna Bob's mate in the tower with us. And Mikey's fished with me a shit ton up here. Obviously CK as well.
Yeah.
And Snicky. And then Tyler and I fished together for many years on Haruko when he was running it. Mark and I have been such good friends and fished together forever.
He's unbelievable.
You can't pick one or the other.
No.
I'm still thinking of my celebrity, and I can't think of one.
No?
Theo Vaughn, like
Hemingway messed you up, huh?
Hemingway messed me up because I didn't really think going back.
Yeah.
Neither did I until he said dead or alive.
Yeah. I should probably be more clear about that when we ask this question to other guests.
Man.
And it's harder to just pick alive.
Yeah. Who would your crew
I really don't care much. For
My crew?
Yeah, your crew, not.
I mean, I'm not going to choose you. Obviously, you'd be in my crew. Who would my crew be?
I'd love to hear just Mike's flip, sibling war erupt.
Just purely for singing and story entertainment, Ben would have to be in my crew.
Dude, Ben would be in my crew too. Ben's our new mate as of last year, and he's awesome. I don't want to compliment him too much, but great charter mate. Like legitimate. Honestly seems like he was made for it.
What are you showing?
Unbelievable.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Funny, dude.
I'd have Ben. I'd have Sinai. I'd have Drake, and that's kind of like we're stacking it up a little bit just because
Drake's nasty.
they worked well together.
Yeah.
I mean, I could rattle. A lot of it depends on where I'm fishing too. I mean, there's, buddy Freddie I'd put anywhere in the world, but then there's my buddy Kahai, who's on the C'est La Vie operation forever and fished all over. You really can't. It depends. Are you going like OGs, young Gs?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Freddie David's, nephew James is in like his whole generation. He's incredible. If I'm dealing with big fish boat side, I got to have Nick Bavell on the wire.
Now that we're name dropping, who's like a younger person that I'm gonna say, let's pick under 30, that seems to be like up and coming, that is kind of opening your eyes a little bit?
Anywhere?
Yeah, anywhere. Someone that like you've been kind of thinking about, like, wow, this guy's getting good, or maybe it's a girl.
I mean, Jimmy David's kid, James, Fred's nephew. James is, for his age, has an immense wealth of experience. just solid kid. I mean, anybody'd be crazy not to try to hire him full time if you'd even get him full time.
I don't know if I know him.
From South Florida, he's phenomenal. His whole little group, his group of peers are all. I mean, some of the kids these days are. The experience that some of them have gained at a young age is wild.
Yeah.
Kid Wiley Berg that fishes with us. He's got all the fishing skills, and then he's also got a lot of the intangibles of personality. CK's only 31, or gonna be 31. She's kind of a wise soul.
I didn't
for his
realize
years.
he was that young. Not that it's much younger than me, but I didn't realize he was younger than me.
Yeah.
A friend Eddie Twyford, who he worked for Bobby Memon and Snicky, and then Robbie Moore as well. Eddie's been around. He's a very talented fisherman too. I think he's 30 or so, 29, 30 maybe. There's a lot of really good young guys around.
I think there's a lot of options of boats to fish on too. All different types of boats.
And there's so much information at your disposal now.
Yeah, they got the internet, which
True, but
I know you
reading
can't
it
learn-
and understanding it versus
right. You can't learn it all, but you can
knowing
get
how to
a
apply it.
big
But at least
jump start.
You're
as
not
far
going
as
into
knowledge.
stuff blind. You
Yeah.
at least have an idea, and then you can learn the tweaks of that,
Yeah,
of that person you're fishing with for sure.
True. I mean,
as far as the knowledge part, but not like how you are, as
And
a
how to
person.
apply it and situationally. You can't get that from a lot of the online resources.
everything
but-
that's online is going to be much like a lot of seminars. It's a good starting foundation.
Yeah.
I think for people to learn. It's definitely expedited the learning process for so many, regardless of age. People new getting into it. There's stuff at the fingertips. It's all part of the instant gratification of the world. Is that they're a quick search and you have an article or a video of how to do something, and it gives you a good foundation. But I don't think anything replicates hands-on instruction, though.
Yeah, agreed.
Same.
Because that's where there's lots of, again, the devil's in the details, lots of little tweaks.
Yeah, you can see 100 videos how to rig a ballyhoo, and you kind of know how to rig a ballyhoo, but until you feel like how you have to hold your hands and how much pressure can you put on.
How to not-
There's a lot of other different tweaks
So many
too. You
things.
it may be rigged perfect, but it keeps spinning.
Yeah,
When people just throw it out, other ways you don't even have to unrig it. You just have to know how to
tweak it.
tweak it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great young fishermen coming up. And a lot of them are working with great captains to help tutor them and foster it. And some are they're just, for lack of a better phrase, naturals. Or they've been doing it from such a young age. Like James has come up with his father, Jimmy, who owns the L&H out of Miami. And his uncle, Fred, who, they're multi-generational South Florida fishermen. So it's just in their blood. A lot of the South Florida guys and Mid-Atlantic guys, they definitely put out a lot more prospects into the, the mate pool, the crew pool, I think.
They also have the longer season. They can get the reps in. They're
Right.
experienced,
The communities are
leapfrog.
more like sport fish, like
100%.
oriented and supportive of it. Up here, it's
very 50.
it's kind of a dying
Yeah.
breed of sorts. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Or it's,
Yeah, I was just trying to
it's,
think,
it's
like-
heavier on commercial. Like
Right.
it's more people trying to be
The
less in the
commercial
sports
guy.
side, but more they want to be in the commercial side. Mm-hmm. So it's all with what the cultures are.
Yeah.
But I think if you can take a New England guy or girl, this day and age, I should probably have to say that. You can take that
Or cat.
and,
Yeah.
and they like
Whatever they distinguish themselves as.
that's a whole nother conversation.
Lizard locally.
New England's got a long history of putting out very talented watermen, and I think you can take a New Englander and they can learn and develop and become a phenomenal sport fisherman.
Yeah.
It's all about having the right people to mentor you.
Do you think that's because of tough conditions, or do you think it's because of the short season? Like, why do you think?
I think.
What's your opinion on like a northern person
boat
going
handling?
south?
I think a lot of it's our conditions. It's generally
Current and all that shit.
Fog, lot of low vis, no vis operation. A lot of it's a single screw lobster boats. They're obviously a lot different to handle than a twin screw of any sort. Some of it, I think, is just like the old Yankee attitude. There's a Yankee work ethic.
Yeah.
Not knocking any of North Carolinians and the Mid-Atlantic guys. They all got badass work ethics too, and so plenty in South Florida, they wouldn't be successful without it. But there is maybe I'm probably biased, but I think there is a Yankee grind mentality.
Yeah.
That's different than other places.
Yeah.
But it's it's all what they want too. I think it comes more to culture, especially South Florida and like North Carolina. They like sport fishing, recreational fishing is even going into like a state and government level. It's more supported than here.
Yeah.
You have fish piers everywhere.
Artificial reef structure.
Oh, God.
Sad what it's like around
here.
here.
They do so much to promote it. And sadly here it's not that it is. It's not that it's not promoted. Oh no, it's that it's not promoted.
Right.
Even
And it's so amazing.
So I think
here.
a lot of people don't realize the opportunity, and that comes back to if it's someone up here looking to get into it. Fly, little bird, fly.
Yeah.
Leave the nest of New England.
Yeah.
And that's a large part of how a career is going to be made overall in the sport fishing world. If you don't want to charter all the time, you want to get into the private, you have to be ready to leave. But you can always come back home and charter if you want.
Yeah.
But it's good to get out.
Yeah. Get that experience, get cultured, see different fisheries, fish with different people.
Oh yeah. There's
all applicable.
And everything translates over. I think we touched on it a little bit at the beginning. There's fisheries from down south that you can alter techniques that are going to be very successful up here. Kite fishing, for one. That started in South Florida. Well, really Japan, but South Florida. And then boats traveling up here introduced it for tuna fishing many years ago. Mm-hmm. There's... spreader bars work as great teasers.
Sure do.
Yep.
You don't need to have a hook in the back of it.
Doing them.
I think if there's a lot of tunas around, it gets a little different. But they seem to pile on those more than they will a squid chain. But there's every fishery technique of a fishery can be used in another one. So by setting out and learning others, you're only gonna put more arrows in your quiver and
Totally.
be more successful wherever you end up, choosing as your fishery.
Yeah. Well, that's good advice. Well, this has been sweet. We've been going for almost 2 hours. Time to wrap her up. Any final questions or anything for Johnny G?
Let's talk about beard care. What are you doing these days to keep that thing as luscious as it is?
Dry it properly after showering. Beard oils.
What's your beard oil brand of choice? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, it's called Beard Struggle.
That's the name of this podcast.
That is the name of this podcast for sure.
We always name the podcast Beard Struggle.
It's some brand out of Norway that I found on Instagram. Dude, what? And I tried a bunch of stuff, and I was like, oh, it's good for Vikings. It's good for me.
Oh, my God.
So I ordered like a whole little sampler kit, and I was like, this shit's incredible. But it makes a big difference too. And beard you have one, like it can get itchy and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the beard oil, it's like life changing. The skin, like it doesn't get dried out underneath.
Yeah, mine does get gross. I just trimmed mine 3 or 4 days ago, but it gets a little gnarly.
I haven't trimmed mine in like 3 years.
2 days ago.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this, man. We appreciate it. It's always a pleasure,
My pleasure.
to sit down and chat with you. We haven't caught up in a while, so this is long overdue. Appreciate it.
I look forward to seeing you guys on the water this summer, and maybe in Florida too before the season's out.
See that 72 anchored up on Middle Bank?
I'll be drifting. I don't anchor. There's no pulpit out there for a reason.
Yes, exactly. Well, we're going to end this on our father's 3 words of fishing wisdom. Remember, you can't catch them if you don't have a hook in the water. Always trust your instincts. And the last one, you just have to keep listening. Stay tight, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in to the SeaBros Fishing Podcast. If you would like more information about today's guest, our episode, and show sponsors, or if you want to order hats and apparel, please visit our website at SeaBrosFishing.com. You can also stay up to date on all the latest SeaBros Fishing content and podcast episodes by following us on Instagram at SeaBros Fishing. Finally, to book a trip with us through our family-run charter fishing company, please visit MassBayGuides.com or see our latest updates and fishing reports by following Mass Bay Guides on Instagram and Facebook.